Hello, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. It's Heather Armstrong from Scotia Music. Thank you so much for coming out this evening to watch our open mic show, the virtually mic'd. I just want to say a few words. We do have quite a great, fantastic lineup to present this evening. But first, I want to acknowledge. Oh, I'm hearing myself. Just one sec. There, that's a little better. I can't do it and hear myself at the same time. So the YouTube went on and then I was like, oh my gosh, okay. Anyway, so before we start, I want to acknowledge that we are hosting this event on Mi'kma'ki, the ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people, and we are grateful to be here. So I kind of want to surprise all of you with who's coming. So they'll all do their own little introductions, but while we wait for everyone to attend, I'll play a few tunes for you. Again, I want to mention that a lot of people during this time, there's a lot of health compromised musicians as well as health compromised viewers that really want to take part in performing and supporting. So Scotia Music is there for you. So we're working on grants and we're working on money. So all of the money that you donate at info.scotiamusic@gmail.com, I'll be sure to place that information in the comments as well, is going to musicians so they can play for you while you can't go anywhere. So the first tune I want to play is a tune that's called Insecurity, and it's basically looking into yourself and realizing that you're worth it and to not wait for those dreams because life doesn't wait for you. I feel you every day in the tunes I play. Do you feel it within each fighting word? You are slightly heard. Do you hear it? Now the mic is on and you should be completely gone. It should be just me. But no matter how I try, you just won't leave me alone. Oh, this is real life. So don't think twice. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because real life won't wade through your insecurity. No, 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 no. Now life is kicking at the door, and my life is greatly more without you in it. The pen is like today, so delightful. insecurity. Thank you. Just going to check the live. I like to check to make sure how it's going. All right, I'm just making sure because I had it on the view with the all of you together. So I'm waiting to see what happens before I start it. I want to make sure everybody can be seen. There we go. I fixed it. Okay, so the second tune, what should I play for my second tune? Oh, I'll do You're All I Need. Okay, so this is again another one a lot of people, I can see myself. Hold on. There, that's better. Okay, so the second one is kind of the same thing. A lot of people during this time are alone. So this is just reminding you that you're all you need. There's no way to say it, no story can explain it, no feeling can contain it, no love can refrain it. Your love keeps me going on. There's no sign that can say it, no songbird can portray it, no instrument can play it, no money can pay it. Your love keeps me going on. Oh, darling, you're all that I need. Oh, honey, you're all that I need. And that's the truth. Not much time left to say it. Hold me now, don't just explain it. Time is now, please don't waste it. Talk is cheap, let's display it. Your love keeps me going on. Oh, darling, you're all that I need. Oh, honey, you're all that I need. Oh, darling, your love is all I need. Oh, honey, your love is all I need. At the end of the day, I can gratefully say that in every way you saved me. And all of the news casting the blues knocks me out of my shoes, and you saved me. When my last breath is taken, my heart won't be breaking because you have shaken the world, you and me. Oh, you and me. 'Cause you're all I need. Oh, you're all I need. At the end of the day, I can gratefully say that in every way you saved me. And all of the news casting the blues knocks me out of my shoes, and you saved me. When my last breath is taken, my heart won't be breaking because you have shaken the world, you and me. Oh, you and me. Oh, you're all I need. Oh, you're all I need. so excited. We have a Highland dancer coming next. She learned how to play Highland dance with McKinnon School of Dance in Bridgewater, and she's the sweetest. Oh, when I play for the piping for the Highland dancers, she always comes up and gives me a great big hug, and it feels so good because I'm beyond nervous to play. And then when I see her smiling and coming over giving me a big hug, it makes it so much easier. All right, so this last one is dedicated to Ely Buchanan from Buchanan's House of Music, because there was one night she told me that I should be singing, and then so I made this at 3 in the morning, so it just seems to fit that it belongs to her. So this is for Ely Buchanan. Whoa, it's early morning and I can't sleep. Something inside I cannot keep. It's aching and breaking and shaking, and I will weep if I cannot let it fly. It's early morning, I'm aware, but there's a rhythm in me somewhere. It's motion, it's notion, it's potion, and I need to share. Just let it fly, let it pass on by. The music has my soul, it swallowed me whole. I have no control, I've got the early rising rhythm and blues. Whoa, it's early morning and I've made a mistake, thinking life is just a journey you'll take. It's wonderful, bountiful, plentiful, whatever we want to make. We're not just merely alive. And it's early morning, it turns to late. I'm starting to feel the signs of fate. No more scurrying, worrying, hurrying state. I'm gonna let it fly. The music has my soul, it swallowed me whole. I have no control, I've got the early rising rhythm and blues. One thing I know for sure, I'm not hiding anymore. One thing I know for sure, I'm not hiding anymore. I've got the early rising, got the ever confiding, I've got the self-aligning, early rising rhythm and blues. Thank you. Oh, I'm so excited. We've got Megan. Hold on, are you ready, Megan? I can't see you. I can't see.
Yep, I'm ready.
You're there. I'm going to mute myself. This is Megan from McKinnon Dance.
I am a Highland dancer. I have been dancing for this coming fall. It'll be 13 years, I believe. So I was just a wee little lassie when I started dancing. The first dance I'm going to do is called the Highland Fling. Thank you. I'm just gonna grab a quick sip of water in between dances. Just gonna, it's hard to jump for like a minute and a half and then have to talk afterwards.
Oh, that's all right. That's all right. You don't need to talk. You're fine.
All right, the next dance I'm going to do is called the Blue Bonnets.
Woo!
Thank you.
How you feeling? Do you need a breather?
Yeah, I'm just gonna take a quick little drink break and then I have one more dance.
Okay, awesome.
I have my mom playing the music for me.
Oh, hey, how are you doing?
I'm in my pajamas early tonight, so I'm hiding.
Oh, you're. I love it. Well, I was just saying that I love how I'm putting these on and I'm not wearing shoes. Right? Actually, it was funny. I said that just earlier. I have my shoes on now because of that. I was like, well, maybe I should put my shoes. But yeah, you don't have to wear anything this now, right?
Yeah. I could dance in my bare feet, just it hurts a little bit more
Oh, I bet.
than having a little bit of protection.
Yeah, oh, I bet. Those shoes, yeah. I didn't realize how tight they are and everything too.
Oh yeah. I have marks on my feet afterwards because I like to tie them tight.
Oh, I miss typing for you all. We'll get back to it. It's nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. I have one more dance and I had found like a fun pipe music to dance to. So I'm going to do a hornpipe for you.
so much for joining us. You are allowed to have a break after that one.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been a blast.
It's so great to see you. And hi to your family, okay? And you can totally just put yourself on mute. Enjoy the rest of the show, okay?
All right. Thank you so much for having me.
Coming. It's an honor. That was Megan. She takes Highland dancing over at McKinnon's Dance in Bridgewater. So I haven't seen her in a long time, so it was so great to see her. So now next, I should also, because I like to mention, Scotia Music is trying to is providing musicians that are health compromised musicians and health compromised performers. We're working on getting funding so that you can you don't have to play or do that for free. And then so one thing that's wonderful is please subscribe to the YouTube channel as well, because there's going to be a lot of shows coming up as well. We want to hit the 100 subscribers mark so I can change it from being youtube.com/=, hyphen 30 letters, subscribe equals, to just Scotia Music, which would be wonderful. We're almost there. We're about 60, so we're getting there. So next we have a wonderful storyteller. Her name's Deborah Thompson. She's going to share one of her stories with you. So please put your hands together.
Okay, there. I unmuted me. Okay. Start? Okay. I'm a storyteller. I've been a storyteller most of my life. And I tend to tell stories that I create, partly because I'm not a good memorizer, never was, tried acting way back. And that was the hardest thing for me, was to remember things long term. So I love creating stories, and oftentimes the stories just tell themselves, or I may get a hint of it before I start to tell it. So more important than me is the story. And here's one for you. The old woman lived at the edge of the village. The people would take her some food and go visit her once in a while and share their stories with her, but mostly she was on her own. Now, around this village, on one side, there was this beautiful river, and along it, not too far from the village, was this gorgeous oak tree. Now, the old woman used to go down to the river and sit under that oak tree. And she talked to it, and she talked to the river. That's why people kind of didn't spend a lot of time with her, because she was a little different from them, because she talked to the river, because she talked to the tree, because she talked to the plants, she talked to everything, the birds, and they just weren't quite sure what to make of it. She'd always been in the village, it seemed. They didn't know when she came or if she had any family, but they helped her out. They were kind-hearted, and that was good. Well, one night, she went down to the river, it was a full moon, and she heard a crying. And she looked at the base of the tree, and there was a basket. And in the basket was a wee babe. Well, she picked that babe up, the basket and all, and she looked around, and there was no one or no sign. And she spoke to the oak tree, and she said, "Where did this little one come from?" And the oak tree said, "This is your babe now. It doesn't matter where she came from. What matters is she's going home with you." And so the old woman took the baby home. And when anyone asked her, she said, well, the mother couldn't take care of her, and she was passing through the village, and she dropped the wee one off with me. Don't know why she picked me, but she did. Well, that little girl loved that old woman, and she learned to do as the old woman did. I'm assuming it was probably natural that she would talk to the trees, and she would talk to the river and the birds and all of that. But when the other children in the village were aware of this, they made fun of her. They weren't too excited to have a child that was so different from them. It made them nervous. I guess it even made them afraid. And so they taunt her and make fun of her. And then when the old woman died and the young girl was 16 years of age, she, she left the village. She couldn't handle it anymore. She didn't have the old woman that she could talk to about talking to the animals, about seeing the tree and whispering to it. And so she left. Now, one of the things she'd learned from that old oak tree was about carving, but not carving from live wood, but taking all that fell from the tree and the other trees and use them and see what stories these old pieces of wood had to say and what she could make. So sometimes she made carvings. Other times she made bowls. She made spoons, forks, whatever she could. And she traveled. She traveled from village to village. And as she did this, she would sell her wares. Now, she'd find a place where she could live for a little while. Sometimes it would be in somebody's shed. Sometimes it might be in somebody's house. Sometimes she'd put up a tent and she'd stay there. And while she was there selling her wares, people were curious and they'd come and they'd sit beside her. And as she was carving, she was so focused on what she was doing that she didn't talk. And they talked. And they told her everything that was going on in their lives. They felt comfortable doing that. But what was happening was she would take it all in. She'd take in their sorrow. She'd take in their joys when they had them. She'd take in their anger, everything they shared with her. And they felt they could share everything because she didn't say anything. But then she'd get so full of their pain and so tired, and it was wearing her out, that she'd have to leave the village and move on. And so this became her life. She'd go to a village, she'd find a place, and she'd carve and sell her wares, and people would come and they'd talk to her. And she would listen and take in their stories and nod as she did her work. But then eventually, she would just be so overwhelmed that she would leave. And it would seem as she left each village, she'd start to feel better. It was like all her cares were blown away as the breezes blew around her. And she could just breathe and think about the trees and the birds and talk to them. And that's what she did. But she was getting tired. She wanted a home. She wanted a place to live. And so she came along this one day and she saw a river. It reminded her of a long, long time ago. And there was even an oak tree beside it. And she thought, well, maybe this would be a good place to live. So she went into the village and inquired if there was a place that she could stay. And one of the people told her, well, on the edge of town, just on the other side, there's an old house. Hasn't been used in years. The people who lived there left long, long ago. It's not in very good shape, but if you want it, it's yours. Well, it wasn't really a house. It wasn't much more than 2 rooms. And there was barely any furniture, but she didn't care. As long as she had a stump to sit on and her carving, she'd be fine. And she'd sell her wares and be able to buy her food. So that's what she did. Well, as soon as she got in there, started doing her carving, people came. And just like every other time, they spoke to her. They shared their stories. And it seemed there was a lot less joy in this village and a lot more anger and sadness and guilt, and just they weren't happy. And once she asked someone, she said, isn't anyone ever happy here? And the person said, well, you know, it's funny. I've been told that we were a much happier group of people. There was an old woman that lived in this house that you're in now. And somehow she brought cheer to this village, but she's gone. I was a babe when she left, and none of us, it just seems every year we get more upset, but since you're here, we're feeling better. We see more joy in everything. And we thank you for that. We're glad we can share our stories with you. Well, the woman didn't say anything. She wanted to say, but it's hard on me. And so one night, after she'd finished, she went down to the river where that oak tree was, and she sat underneath it. Oh, and there was like a curve for her spine in the trunk of the oak. And the tree just seemed to curl around her. And she could reach her feet down into the river. And it felt so good. The breezes came And it was like they cleared her head of all the sounds, of all the voices, but her heart was still heavy. And so she got up, went home and went to bed, but she felt better and she thought, this is good. Maybe I can stay here. And so she would keep doing the same thing. She was there for a number of months. And then one night, when she was at the river and she let her feet dangle, they didn't touch the water. The river had dropped. And she thought, well, that's funny. It rained today. It rained the night before. What's going on? And so she went into the village and she asked the people, she said, have you noticed that the river's dropping? And they looked at each other and they said, this river never goes dry. It's always full. Oh, she said, but it's starting to lose its height. Something's wrong. Maybe the water's draining somewhere else. Well, it shouldn't be. It comes from the mountain and it goes down to the ocean, they told her. So she said, well, maybe it's just something strange and tomorrow it'll be better. So the next evening, she went down to the river again. And the same thing, only it had dropped even lower. And she looked down and she said, River, what's wrong with you? And she thought she heard something, but she wasn't sure. And the tree, she thought she heard the tree say something, but again, she wasn't sure. She hadn't talked to a tree or a river in many, many years. It was like she shut it out because of being made so much fun of when she was young. And she didn't want other people to hear it or know that she could do it. So she just shrugged and she thought, I wonder what's wrong. And she was going to take a walk along the river, but something stopped her and it was getting dark anyway. So she went back. She went back to her little home. And again, another night, she came down and she sat there. And yes, the breeze was still there and it cleared her head, but the river was emptying. And she leaned back against the tree and she said, I wish I could do something to help this river. And she thought the leaves in the tree rustled and said, you can. You can. And she looked around, there was nobody there. And she said, who spoke? And the tree said, don't you remember me? Don't you remember who I am? And she said, how would I know you? I've never been here before. Oh, I remember you when you were a child with the old woman. You came here. This is where you were left. And this is where she found you. And she looked at the tree. It was much bigger now, but she could see some of the markings. And she said, you're the tree? And the tree said, yes, I'm that tree. And you are the reason that the river is dropping. But why? Why is it dropping? Well, you'll have to ask the river. But I don't know how. I haven't talked to a river in so long. Well, just sit here. Let the breezes blow and lean against me and listen. Listen to the trickling of what's left of the river. And there wasn't much left. But she listened, and the river spoke to her, and it said, give me your tears. And she said, what do you mean? And the river said again, give me your tears. That is all I have to say. Well, she thought that was strange. And then she thought about the last time she'd cried. And it had been many, many years ago when the old woman had died and she'd left this very village. And she thought about the old woman and how she had cared for her and told her that it was good to talk to nature, to the birds, to the trees, to the rivers, to the plants. And she'd left that all behind when she'd left the village. And she felt a tear in her cheek, and then another one. And the tears began to flow. And she thought about all the people's sad stories and how they had been affected by the old woman. And the tears flowed more and more and more. And the next thing she knew, her feet were wet. And she got it. The river needed her tears. It flowed. And the tree said to her, see? She said, the people came here And sometimes they would share their tears, just enough to keep the river flowing after the old woman left. But you came and they stopped coming. And you didn't share your tears, just as the old woman, she used to share hers. So you can stay. The people would love to have you, I know, and be honest with them. And so the woman walked back to the village. And she said, as she called the people around, "It's fine. The river is fine." And she said, "I'm the little girl. I'm the little girl that the old woman took care of so many, many years ago, the one who spoke to the tree and the river and the birds and the animals. And I can do that too. And you can continue to share your stories, share your lives with me, but share them with the river as well. And together we'll be a happy village again." And so that's what happened. And that's what they did. And that young woman found her way home again. And the people found that sometimes those we think the strangest somehow manage to bring the most joy into our lives. And that's my story. Thank you.
Thank you. I love your stories. They're so peaceful when you're just listening.
Thank you.
You're such a peaceful voice. I loved it.
That's-
Thank you so much. Yeah,
That's what I want to do.
Yeah, it's so wonderful. I'm just listening to it and just, yeah, it's wonderful. So thank you so much for joining.
Thanks for
Again, I
having
should-
me.
Oh, a pleasure. I should also mention Scotia Music is working on an online brokerage to ensure health compromised musicians can perform and health compromised viewers can safely watch in the comfort of their own home. So all of the donations that you can give to us is greatly appreciated because it will go straight back to the performers. So now I'm very excited to introduce Patrick Thompson. Patrick Thompson, are you ready?
I am ready.
Oh, yay! Awesome. Okay, so I'll pause myself.
Awesome. Thanks, Heather. And yeah, it's a pleasure to be here with everybody. It's great to be able to connect virtually like this. Yeah, I'm going to start off with a song kind of about, finding a silver lining in difficult situations, I guess. And, that sometimes you have to have the difficult times in order to appreciate the not so difficult times or the good times. Good times always seem better, always seem a little bit nicer, with good friends and good weather. With hard days, they're coming. Don't waste your happy day waiting for the sky to fall. Don't forget the rain has gotta fall, 'cause if it didn't, we wouldn't recognize good times at all. Some say, what's the point of changing? Just leave it as it was, without rearranging. But things are getting brighter, taking it one day at a time. It gets a little lighter, so don't forget the rain has gotta fall, 'cause if it didn't, we wouldn't recognize good times at all. Future, it can cause a lot of worry if you look a little too hard. Right now it gets blurry, so slow down. We don't have to raise gratitude to help you find the rain has got to fall, 'cause if it didn't, we wouldn't recognize good times. Don't forget, the rain has got to fall, 'cause if it didn't, we wouldn't recognize good times at all. Thank you. And thank you very much, Heather, for putting this together. I joined you, I think it was 2 weeks ago now that I joined you online here. So thanks for putting all this together. It's awesome. It's awesome to get together and get to share with everybody. So I'm going to. This is a song I wrote quite a while ago, and hadn't really been playing it a whole lot lately. And last week I was actually having some in-person shows, I guess, starting to put some set lists together, and kind of started looking at it again. And this is a song about perseverance. So cold, but it's warm inside, like you and the thoughts you hide. Break down the walls you build with stone. You only need them when you feel alone. It's a long way, and the past seems black. And on my trail with 1,000 switchbacks. If you fight for what feels right, just step out of the darkness into the light. You look back, hold on to the pain. Used to be okay, but now it's filling your brain. Try to remember the times when you smile. It takes some time, but baby, it's worthwhile. It's a long way, almost no turning back. Dimly lit corridor and walls with cracks. If you fight for what feels right, you step out of the darkness into the light. Let it slip, let it slide, let it die. Let it end with the tears in your eyes. Let it roll, let it flow, let it go. Realize the world is still beautiful. It's a long way, no one find the way back. A million suns are burning out the black. Now you fight for what feels right. You stepped out of the darkness into the light. Thank you. Thank you. I always have the hardest time deciding what songs to play. It doesn't matter how much time I have to prepare. Since I'm coming to you from a basement in rural Nova Scotia, I'll sing a song that I guess is kind of inspired by growing up here and driving down country roads and seeing houses that haven't been lived in for a little while. Sometimes I'm not too creative with my titles. This one's just called Country Home. There's a field in my mind where the grass is growing long, and no one lives there now, for lovers have gone. And there's a stream in the middle Water's clear where it runs deep. It's there that I remember how it felt when she used to see. Run like the water headed for the sea. Run until you feel free. And if you get tired of being alone, remember this old country home. There's a house by the pasture. It's not too big or small. In the back I see some horses. There's no one else at all. Run like the water headed for the sea. Run until you feel free. And if you get tired of being alone, remember this old country home. Don't forget about the times, the moments you felt safe. In these memories it's hidden. You'll find a peaceful place. Run like the water headed for the sea. Run until you feel free. And if you get tired of being alone, remember this old country home. Yeah, run like the water headed for the sea. Run until you feel free. And if you get tired of being alone, remember this old country home. Thank you. Thank you. And thanks again to everybody who has already shared and is going to. I'm enjoying myself tremendously tonight, just enjoying what everybody's doing. I have time for one more, Heather. Is that?
Oh yeah, you can do one more for sure. Thank you
Okay.
so much, Patrick.
Okay. Thank you. And thanks to you again, Heather, for putting this together. It's awesome. It's just it's great to be a part of it. So.
Oh great, thank you. It's a pleasure.
I'm gonna finish off with a song that I wrote it about 3 years ago, but I kind of feel like if I didn't say that and remind myself, I feel like I could have written it in the current kind of climate of everything. And I think I don't want to get to over talk it or get it's not trying to be political necessarily or anything like that, but I just hope that we can learn from mistakes we've already made and come together in the ways that we're similar instead of being divided in the ways that we are not the same. But anyhow, thanks for listening. This is Right Side of the Times. A change is coming, and they know it's true. No time for running, change is coming soon. Some will try to fight it, some will try to run. Don't get excited, change still gonna come. Change is gonna come, get caught on the right side of the time. Don't get distracted, don't toe that line. Get caught on the right side of time. Yeah, get caught on the right side of time. History has shown us mistakes we made in the past. Bigotry and get caught on the right side of time. Don't get distracted, don't toe that line. Get caught on the right side of time. Yeah, get caught on the right side of time. Some will say, this is what we learn. Some will see a chance to be reborn. Gotta get off that fence. One side is open mind, the other ignorance. Will you stay? Will you run? Change is gonna come. Change is gonna come. Get caught on the right side of time. Don't get distracted, don't toe that line. Get caught on the right side of time. Yeah, get caught on the right side of time. Get caught on the right side of time. Don't get distracted, don't toe that line. Get caught on the right side of time. Yeah, get caught on the right side of time.
Woo! Get caught on the right
Thank you.
side of
Thank
time. I love that one so much. Thank you so much, Patrick. And you have music out.
I do.
Yeah. Talk
Yeah,
about it.
actually, yes. Actually, so Into the Light and Country Home are actually both available on my two different albums on Spotify, iTunes, all those different platforms that you can stream or download it.
Awesome.
Thanks, Heather.
That's so great. Oh, thank you. Thank you for coming in. All right. So next we have someone from Newfoundland, Anthony McDonald. And
He's a pro.
I'm
guys.
so excited because
did it,
I used to live in Newfoundland, and that's where I met Anthony. And you over at O'Reilly's Pub and Aaron's Pub and all that. I'm really excited to have you on board. So he's going to do a few songs for us. Thank you, Anthony.
No problem. Thanks for having me, guys. Hello, all the way from the edge of the Avalon Wilderness area here in Newfoundland. My name is Anthony. I'm not going to do any Nova Scotia songs. I'll leave those to you guys. I used to spend a lot of time up playing in Nova Scotia, actually, Halifax mostly, but Sydney a few times, for the places in Cape Breton. Haven't been up in a while now, so I'm doing a trip. Anyway, I'm going to do some songs from Newfoundland, and I'm going to finish with a Scottish song, which is kind of relevant here in Newfoundland these days. It's written by Ron Hines, a great songwriter not far from where I am now. He's from the town of Ferryland. This is called the St. John's Waltz. Oh, the harbour lights are gleaming, and the evening is still and dark, and the seagulls, they're all dreaming, seagull dreams on Amherst Rock, and the mist is slowly drifting as the storm lights grow dim, and the moon is gently lifting as the last ship's coming in. All the sailors have got a story, some are true, but some are false. Oh, they're always wrecked, and they're up on the deck and dancing the St. John's Waltz. Now we had our share of history, we've seen nations that come and go. We've seen battles rage over land and stage for 400 years or more, or for glory, or for freedom, or for country, or for kin, or for money or fame, but there are no names on the graves where the men lie sleeping. All the 9 to 5 survive the day with a sigh and a dose of salts. But they're parking their cars, they're packing the bars and dancing St. John's waltz. Well, my heart is on the highway. Yeah, I'm sold on going to see all the planes fill up the skyway. Yeah, and the trains run swift and free. So leave the wayward free to wander. Leave the restless free to roam. If it's rocks in the bay, if it's old cliche, well, you'll find your way back home. So don't question or inquire what's been gained and what's been lost. In this world of romance, don't miss out on the chance to be dancing the St. John's waltz, where they're parking their cars and they're packing the bars and dancing the St. John's waltz, where they're always wrecked and they're up on the deck and dancing the St. John's waltz. That's a tune by the late great Ron Hines. Folks, thank you very much. That's called the St. John's Waltz. I'm going to play another song written by, I'm on the southern shore of Newfoundland right now, which is, if you're ever in St. John's, you've been in St. John's, get in your car and keep driving south, and that's the southern shore. A very good friend of mine, Mr. Ronald J. Power, Ronnie Power, who played with the Irish Descendants for the first 10 or 12 years. Ronnie and I played together for about 15 years after he left the Descendants. And we used to play up at the Old Triangle in Halifax a lot, the one in Sydney. Played the Fleet Club in around Nova Scotia a few times there. Ronnie wrote this song back in the Descendants days. I think this was on the second or third Irish Descendants record. And it's a song called Go to See No More. Now, I don't know about you folks up in Nova Scotia, but here in Newfoundland, we call New York and Boston and Connecticut and New Hampshire and Maine, they're all the Boston states. We don't bother to separate them. So when you hear me say the Boston states, that's what we're talking about in this song. Ronnie Power wrote this. It's called Go to See No More. It's another day we go, sailing over blue. I look to the horizon, my thoughts drift home to you. Young man, only 17, adventure couldn't wait to sail from home on a fishing ship out for the Boston States. I shipped out on the Gloucester smack, I fished the Georgia's bank. While the work was hard and the wage was fair, the good Lord I gave thanks. Although I've had a good life, as good as any man, if I could change the course of time, I'd live in my homeland. My thoughts are always with you. Have you changed since I've been gone? Oh, how I long to see you. The time's been so long. If I could get just one more chance to walk your rugged shore, I'd trade the life I chose to make and go to see no more. Last night as I lay dreaming, I I sailed the raging foam. My ship, she took me far away to the rocky shores of home. And I could write 1,000 lines to say just how I feel. I hope and pray that some fine day my dreams they can be real. My thoughts are always with you. Have you changed since I've been gone? Oh, how I long to see you. The time's been so long. If I could get just one more chance to walk your rugged shore, I'd trade the life I chose to make and go to sea no more. My thoughts are always with you. Have you changed since I've been gone? How I long to see you. The time's been so long. If I could get just one more chance to walk your rugged shore, I'd trade the life I chose to make and go to sea no more. I'd trade the life I chose to make and go to sea no more. That's a song from the Southern Shore, Newfoundland. Mr. Ronnie Powell wrote that one, folks. That's called Go to Sea No More. I'm a touch out of tune here, I think. On that one. I'm going to do one more for you now. There's a great songwriter from Scotland, and I figure, that Scotland, Nova Scotia connection, this was an appropriate one. His name is Archie Fisher. Archie's written lots of great songs. You probably know Archie from Stan Rogers. Stan didn't cover many artists on his records, but he actually covered Archie twice, once with the Witch of the Westmoreland, and the second time with a song called Dark Eyed Molly. I'm going to do a different one called Men of Worth, and it's about what happened in Aberdeen, Scotland back in the late 70s, early 80s, with the fishery giving way to the oil industry as the main source of income in an area, which is something that sort of happened here in Newfoundland in the 90s and carries on today. So I'll leave you with this one. This will be my last song, folks. Thanks so much for having me. Thanks to Heather for putting this together. It's been a lot of fun. Hopefully we'll see you back here on something like this again soon. If you want to sing along to this one, by the way, there's only one syllable in the whole chorus, la, and you can substitute law or low or law or lee, whatever you want to put in there. One syllable beginning with an L, and you'll do just fine. It's called Men of Worth. Leave the land behind, laddie, better days to find. The companies have the money and they'll soon teach you the skills. Green fields fall away to the 40s and the grey. Be a man or else the bout will soon teach you the drill. But who'll tend me sheep when I'm furrow the deep? And their nets, you know the sea quest when the snow comes to the hills. La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la la la. Leave the fishing trade, lads, there's money to be made. The handline and the Shetland, all the rub a bygone day. Come to Aberdeen, where a sight you'd never seen. Be a welder on the pipeline or a fitter out on the bay. But when the job is over and your boat rots on the shore, how will you feed your families when the companies go away? La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la. There's harbors to be built, there's rigs to tow and tilt, to stand upon the ocean bed like pylons in the sea. Pipeline to be laid, and 100 different trades that'll pay a decent living wage that likes of you and me. I know you men of worth, you're the best that's in the north. Not men of greed, but men who need the work that's come your way. From Flopper to Monk Shore, and the industry is born. Now Peterhead and poverty will never be the same. I know you're the men of worth, You're the best that's in the north. Not many be, but many need. The work that's coming your way. La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la. Thanks again, folks. My name's Anthony from Newfoundland. Thanks, Heather, for putting this together. Really appreciate you having me, and hopefully we'll see you again real soon, guys. Thanks so much. Enjoy the rest of your show.
That was a breath of fresh air. Thank you.
Lovely.
Newfoundland. It's so good to see you.
You'll have to come back whenever we're allowed to travel again.
I know, right? Oh, I kept on thinking, like I've been putting it off, and now like I gotta go. I miss you all so much. It's actually funny. I hosted a live event with the Relics yesterday, and I went through the 30 things I miss and love most about Newfoundland, and it was all the way from Toutons to birch beer and pineapple crush.
Which number was I?
Oh, well, number two, because I said how the music is so vibrant there. It's just everyone's singing, everyone's dancing. So anyway, thank you so much for joining in, and I'm sure we'll do a live event for just you very soon.
Sounds good. Let me know.
All right.
Take care, everybody.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Cheers.
All right, so we have now the pièce de résistance, or I'm not entirely sure how to put it, but basically, Frantically Atlantic is joining right now. Now it's Don Wrigley and Michelle Daigle, and they're a New Brunswick-based touring duo with a broad repertoire of East Coast style, folk, Celtic roots, and Acadian tunes and songs, traditional and original English and
So you
French.
take these off to play, right?
Yeah.
And as touring musicians, they have performed and conducted workshops at various festivals and events, toting basically every instrument known to man. In
So you
the
have to
Maritimes,
introduce this one.
Newfoundland,
Speak really
Quebec,
loud.
Ontario, New England, and Ireland. They have a self-titled album, Frantic Atlantic. It was nominated for the 2018 New Brunswick Awards in the category of Traditional Roots and Artist of the Year. And pleased to announce that they have a second album, Maggie in the Woods, on the Maritimes music label. And they say they're honored to be part of the virtually mic'd event tonight. So thank you very much. And without further ado, here is Frantically Atlantic.
Hello. Thank you, Heather.
Hi, guys. You guys were fantastic.
Been good. Yeah, it's been great.
Yeah. Woohoo. We want to come to the Rock.
We're gonna start with a couple of Irish jigs.
You talk about your dulcimer.
I'm gonna take my binoculars off now.
I'm gonna leave one of my binoculars on. Talk about your dulcimer.
This is on tin whistle and hammered dulcimer.
So now we're gonna do one, probably Anthony, you know these. Hi, Heather. Tell Me Ma and St. Anne's Reel. Yeah, I'm doing fiddle and bouzouki on this one. It's just we have cats running all over the place. Tell me, Mom, when I go home, the boys won't leave the girls alone. Pull my hair and still my comb, but that's all right till I go home. She's handsome, she's pretty, she's the gal of Delta City. She's 14, 1, 2, 3, please tell me who is she? Albert Mooney says he loves her, all the boys are fighting for her. Knock on the door, ring another bell. Oh, my true love, are you well? Here she comes as white as snow, rings on her fingers and bells on her toes. Teddy Mary says she will die, she doesn't get the fellow with the wrong eye. And the rain and the hail blow high and the snow come tumbling from the sky. She's as nice as apple pie and she'll get her own lad by and by. When she gets a lad of her own, she won't tell her ma till she gets home. Let them all come as they will, it's Albert Mooney, she will Thanks, guys. We're gonna do an Irish tune. This one is called Finnegan's Wake. Oh, talk about the industrial.
This is a favorite song of ours. It's about a fatal industrial accident. And it's a lot of fun.
And sorry, I just scared my cat. This is on our second CD, Maggie in the Woods, and it was recorded in Shelburne, Nova Scotia, on the Maritimes music label by Jay Pilzer. And Jay and Rachel own Maritimes Music. Check it out. So we chose the farthest point you could possibly travel within the
That's
Maritime
a hard place to get
provinces.
to, Shelburne. Yeah.
6.5 hours from Fredericton, New Brunswick. Tim Finnegan lived in Walking Street. Let's start, Don. Okay, we're gonna start that again. Tim Finnegan lived in Walking Street, a gentleman Irish mighty odd. Well, he had a tongue both rich and sweet, and to rise in the world he carried a heart. But Tim had sort of a tippling way. With the love of the liquor he was born, and to send him on his way each day to drop to the creature every morn. Back with the love you dance your partner around the floor, you're drawn in shame. Wasn't it the truth I told you? Lots of fun at Finnegan's Wake. One morning Tim felt rather full. Well, his head was heavy, which made him shake. He fell off the ladder and he broke his skull. And they carried him home, his corpse to wake. Well, they rolled him up in a nice clean sheet, and they laid him out upon the bed, with a bottle of whiskey at his feet and a barrel of porter at his head. Why put it out when you dance your partner around the floor? You're trying to shake. Wasn't it good news? I told you lots of fun and Finnegan's Wake. His friends assembled at the wake, and Mrs. Finnegan called for lunch.
Lunch.
Well, first they brought in tea and cake, then pipe, tobacco, and brandy punch. Well, the widow Malone began to cry. Oh, such a lovely corpse did you ever see? Alas, Maureen, why'd you die? Will you shut your shop? Said Molly McGee. Back for the Davy, that's your partner around the floor. You're trying to shake. Wasn't it the truth? I told you lots of fun at Finnegan's Wake. Well, Mary O'Connor took up the job. Oh, Biddy says she, you're wrong, I'm sure. Well, Biddy gave her a belt in the gob and left her sprawling on the floor. Then Civil War did then enrage. 'Twas woman to woman and man to man. Shillelagh law was all the rage, and a row and a ruction soon began. Went for the Davy, you dance your partner around the floor, you're trying to shake. Wasn't it the truth? They told you lots of fun and Finnegan's Wake. Yee-hoo! Well, Tim Maloney raised his head when a bottle of whiskey flew at him. He ducked and landing on the bed, the whiskey splattered all over Tim. But Dad, he revives, he'll see how he rises. Tim Finnegan rising in the bed, saying, will your whiskey around like blazes, thunder and chasing, I think I'm dead. Black for the die, will you dance your partner around the floor, you're trying to shake. They told you lots of fun at Finnegan's Wake. So we're gonna do another one that's from our recent CD, Maggie in the Woods. These are a couple of polkas we're gonna do. And Maggie in the Woods is also Muscles in the Corner
If you're
for
in- if
Anthony
you're
in
in
Newfoundland. So you can do Muscles in the Woods or Muscles in the Corner or Maggie in the Woods. So we're doing Maggie in the Woods and Morris Manley's.
Ah,
OK. Maintenant, chanson française.
Oh.
Ah oui, du Nouveau-Brunswick. Non, ce n'est pas du Nouveau-Brunswick, mais this is a tune that Edith Butler made very popular. Oops, sorry, I forgot one. I'll do that next week. Yeah, so this is on our second CD as well. It's fun too. Derrière chez mon père, il y a un pommier doux, il y a un pommier doux. Les trois filles de prince sont endormies dessous. J'ai le gain de bille, j'ai le gain de paille, j'ai la rangée, j'ai des trilles, j'ai des calis, j'ai des allumettes, j'ai des ananas, des parapluies, des lolifleuries, j'ai des si, j'ai des ananas, j'ai des ananas. Les trois filles de prince sont endormies dessous, sont endormies dessous. La flèche se réveille, d'immenseur les jours. J'ai des gants de billets, j'ai des gants de paille, j'ai de la rangée, j'ai des trilles, j'ai du calis, j'ai des allumettes, j'ai des ananas, des parapluies, des lolifleuries, j'ai des si, j'ai des ananas, j'ai des ananas, j'ai des ananas, j'ai de beaux oiseaux. Non, ce n'est que l'étoile qui claire nos amours, qui claire nos amours. Nos embattants s'engueulent, ils combattent à tout nous. J'ai des grains de billets, j'ai des grains de paille, j'ai de la rangée, j'ai des trilles, j'ai des calis, j'ai des allumettes, j'ai des ananas, des parapluies, des lolifleuries, j'ai des si, j'ai des ananas, j'ai des ananas, j'ai des ananas, j'ai de beaux oiseaux. Nos embattants s'engueulent, ils combattent pour nous, ils combattent pour nous. S'ils gagnaient la bataille, ils les auront toujours. J'ai des gains de billets, j'ai des gains de paille, j'ai de la rangée, j'ai des trilles, j'ai des calis, j'ai des allumettes, j'ai des ananas, des parapluies, des lolifleuries, j'ai des si, j'ai des ananas, j'ai des ananas, j'ai des ananas, beaux, j'ai de beaux oiseaux. So we're going to do an original tune now. Dawn's from the Miramichi, up central New Brunswick. And they have all kinds of fun names up there, like Lumpy and Spider and Bumpy and
pickle.
Pickle and Hooper and Pooper. Lumpy is my favorite. And so this is about, I'm a dance caller. I call circle and square dance. So this is kind of a dance call song, kind of like Hillbilly Hair through Bugs Bunny. And so this is called Lumpy Got Tight. And it it starts with real dance calls and then it just morphs into
That
chaos.
stops making sense.
Lady round a lady and gents also, right and left grand with a heel and toe. You turn back and I'll trade by, right hands across with the old shoe fly. Swing your ma, then swing your pa, swing the girl from Arkansas. Wheel and deal in lines of four, slip the clutch and swing some more. Lady round a lady and gents also, right and left grand with a heel and toe. Turn back and I'll trade by, right hands across with the old shoe fly. Lady round a lady and gents also, right and left round with a heel and toe. Turn back and I'll trade by, right hands across with the old shoe fly. Open the floodgates rip the scene. Dance all around to Devil's Dream. Cats in the cradle and whiskey's in the jar. Bend the line and shoot the star. Lady run the lady and gents also. Right and left round with a heel and toe. Turn back and I'll trade by. Ride hands across with the old shoe fly. Lady run the lady and gents also. Right and left round with a heel and toe. Turn back and I'll trade by. Ride hands across with the old shoe fly. Bacon's in the fry pan, tea is in the kettle. Kevin's in the corner playing like a scene special. Humpty got tied and landed in jail. Old Dan Tucker won't pay his bail. Lady run the lady and gents also. Right and left round with a heel and toe. Turn back and I'll trade by. Ride hands across with the old shoe fly. Stumble Falls.
All right.
All right, we're gonna do another original tune. Dawn's gonna explain this one.
This is yeah, I was playing at a barn dance once, and there was a grand march, an entrance where the dancers prancing into a lively reel, and something happened and I had to stop playing and all the dancers fell down, and I thought that was great. So we made up a tune to commemorate that magic moment. It's called Trip to Stumble Falls. So it does have some odd stops in it. It'll suddenly stop. That's just to make the dancers fall down.
And they're all, it's all on purpose. Not too fast. That's
Done.
it. We're gonna do another Irish tune. I've just messaged you, Heather. So we're doing oh, Little Beggar Man. Not too fast.
How much were we playing in the beginning?
AABB.
A, B, okay.
Beggarman and bacon I've been for 80 more on this little Isle of Green. Known from the Liffey and down to Seguin, I'm known by the name of Old Johnny Doo. Of all the trade that's going, surely begging is the best, for when a man is tired he can sit down and rest. Beg for his dinner, he has nothing else to do, only cut around the corner with his old rigadoo. Barn down a caravan, and I came on and I slept till the dawn. Holes in the roof and the rain coming through. Rats and the cats, they were playing peekaboo. Who did I to waken but the woman of the house, with her white spotty apron and her calico blouse? She began to frighten and I said, "Boo, hurrah, don't be frightened, ma'am, it's old Johnny Doo." flaxy-haired girl one day. Good morning, little flaxy-haired girl, I did say. Good morning, little beggar man, and how do you do? With your rags and your tags and your old rigadoo. I'll buy a pair of leggings and a collar and a tie, and a nice young lady I'll fetch by and by. I'll buy a pair of goggles and I'll color them blue. An old-fashioned lady I will make her too. Over the road with my pack on my back, over the hills with my great heavy sack, holes in my shoes and my toes poking through, skin him rinky dinky diddle old Johnny do. I best be on your bed for it is getting late at night, the fire's all raked and out goes the light. Now you've heard the story of my old rigadoo, it's goodbye and God be with you, says old Johnny do. Well, I am a little beggar man, and begging I have been for 80 more on this little Isle of Green. Known from the Liffey down to Seguin, I'm known by the name of old Johnny Do. Of all the trade that's going, surely begging is the best, for when a man is tired, he can sit down and rest. Beg for his dinner, he has nothing else to do, only cut around the corner with his old rigadoo. Here we go. One more?
Mhm.
Is that good?
Yeah.
Just one more?
Okay.
Okay. So Heather, we have one more for you. Okay. I can't hear you. We're gonna do another original
Yes, no,
tune.
thank you so much. It's been a pleasure having you on board. I'm dancing. I ran outside. The reason why I was late on the last one is I ran outside and I had to let my husband know that my son would absolutely love this. So,
Oh!
so he's listening to it too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank
You look
so
too
much.
young to have a son.
Oh, you are sweet. You are sweet.
I thought you were 20.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, we're gonna do one last tune, Heather. Thanks, you guys. Everybody
everyone.
was
Yeah, this has been
fantastic.
great.
Storytelling and music and dancing, and Highland dancers just amaze me. They just make me want to pass out. So we're gonna end with it's a little bit of a country tune. This is way out of our sort of range. But we wrote this song about homesteading in New Brunswick. And it could really be about homesteading anywhere. So we could change the county to whatever. Just want to let you know what Don was playing is his Shruti box here. That's in Indian. It's from India, and it's a reed instrument.
So yeah, it just plays
It plays
a
just,
drone, like a
Yeah.
bagpipe drone.
so we have a reed instrument from India. We have the hammered dulcimer. Don, hold it up. The hammered dulcimer is originally from Persia. It's also called a santoor, and we play Irish music on that. And we also have our Greek bouzouki, which we play Irish, and our whistles and our little drum. So we're gonna do a little tune that we wrote. Again, this is on Maritime's music label, Shelburne, Nova Scotia. Jay and Rachel, Jay Pilzer and Rachel Yellen.
So Carleton County is in western New Brunswick. That's that's potato farming country.
He's gonna marry this Carleton County girl. He's gonna give this Carleton girl a great big world. He'll say I'm pretty, he'll think I'm neat, and I'll give this girl one heck of a treat. He's gonna marry this Carleton County girl. I'm gonna marry a Carleton County lad. I'm gonna be the best that lad has ever had. Friday night when he shoots pool, oh my lord, he looks so cool. I'm gonna marry a Carleton County lad. Here we go. We're gonna have a Carleton County fling. He's gonna buy me a Carleton County diamond ring. I'll pitch woo and he'll pitch back. We'll court each other by the railroad track. We're gonna have a Carleton County fling. Take it away, Don. I'm gonna use my Carleton County charms. We're gonna buy a quaint little Carleton County farm. We'll raise chickens and we'll grow spuds. We'll look real cute in our farming duds. I'm gonna use my Carleton County charms. Here we go. We're gonna raise some Carleton County kids. When we do, we'll dance a Carleton County jig. Friday night we won't go out. We'll sit in the kitchen drinking homemade stout. We're gonna raise some Carleton County kids. Here we go. He just married this Carleton County girl. He just gave this Carleton girl a great big world. Friday night we won't go out. We'll sit in the kitchen drinking homemade stout. He just married this Carleton County girl. Thanks for having us, Heather. And thanks, you guys. It was so great to hear all the music and the dancing and the storytelling. I'm a storyteller too, and I love that story. It was beautiful.
Oh, thank you so much for joining in. This was wonderful. And thank you, everybody. It's been an honor to have you as part of this. And everyone, remember, info.scotiamusic@gmail.com. Send money via e-transfer. We're working on health compromised musicians and performers still can't make it out. So we're working with them to make sure that they get to play and people get to view. So thank you again. It's an honor that all of you had come into play, and we'll see you all very, very soon.
Hope
Thank
so.
you.
Yeah, thanks, Heather.
See you all later. Thanks.